nice to actually get started. There's been a lot of planning gone into this project, and here we are.
Well, welcome to the museum, everyone. Hands up who's been here before. So you already know about why Bones is your school mascot, because it's named after the hippos that were found on the bypass in 1964. But I put a few pieces out here today to show you how big and how heavy the bones are. That's a part of a hippo's backbone, and so is this one, but it's got part of a rib attached to it, but it's broken off. And then this one is extremely heavy, and it's hippo's teeth, and you can see where they eat grass and plants because all their teeth are really smoothed down. Do you see it's really flat? So their teeth kept growing, the same as elephants' teeth keep growing. So that's enormous. And that other bone there is a small leg bone of a small hippo. The hippos they found, the experts tell us that they were either really old hippos or really young ones. And they think something like a flood came down the River Otter. The fit ones got away and the old and young hippos didn't. I expect you're wondering how hippos got to Honiton. Back when hippos lived here, there was no English Channel. England was joined to France, so they just walked across the land. So you see some pictures here about how deep in the ground they were found, because it's, you see, that's how much they dug down to find it.
Margaret is one of the volunteers that keep this place going. So she doesn't get paid to do this work, to keep this amazing exhibition going. We're all very lucky that there are still people prepared to put their time in for nothing to make sure that history is recorded and presented. So imagine you're there with your mother hippopotamus and you're thinking, oh, this is a nice sunny day in a nice pond in Honiton, and you're having a nice wallow in the mud, and then suddenly a big wave comes down, and those who could run could get away, and those who were a bit elderly, or the little ones, couldn't get out of the way quick enough, and they got stuck, they got buried, and their bones stayed in the ground so long that their skin and their flesh disappeared, but their bones stayed and eventually turned to stone. So that's what a fossil is. It's like a shadow of the reality. Wow. And it's hollow. So a bone is hollow. Look at this one. You know, the shape of this is defined by the muscles that attach to it. These lumps are where the tendons attach, and that's where a joint goes, and it pivots around. So those big, heavy legs are supporting that great, big, heavy body. So we're going to try and get these bones to escape somehow from this museum, right? We're going to try and bring this hippo back to life. So I want to use some bone shapes in our sculpture, right? After this, I'm going to ask Margaret if it's going to be possible to copy some of these bone pieces. But either way, we're going to have a go at making some. So the plasticine you've got is a way of beginning to think about those shapes. What I suggest we do is you have one bigger lump and then you gradually squeeze it and pinch off another lump. And then with that smaller ball, break that into two as well. Squeeze it. I'm going to concentrate on the big ball at squeezing it and pinching it into a hippo head shape. And you can use your fingernails. You can begin to draw. Look, you could just draw its mouth around the front there. Can you see? I'm just showing you different techniques. So what we've done is we've done tearing, we've done rolling, we've done squeezing. Now we're doing a little bit of pinching, where you pinch it to make bits come up. So you're using your hands as your tools. By the end of this visit, I'd like you to keep and make something for us to see. The other thing I want us to do is to have a look around the museum. We can learn so much from just looking around. Now, the other thing that's very important to find in this museum, we've got the incredible bones, we've also got incredible lace. So lace, as you probably know, is something that was very important to Honiton and unique to Honiton. Honiton was a centre of lace making. If you look here, it's got beautiful plant patterns and shapes in the way it's made. Well, I want to use some plant shapes in our sculpture as well. And our inspiration could come from looking at some of this lace. They're amazing big pieces and they go back in time. So this is like layers of the earth. Imagine the hippos buried in the earth. Time builds up in layers, right? That's a whopping big bone. Suggestions are that hippos live in a marshy boggy area where the weaker animals became trapped 1.6 to 1.7 million years ago.
So that's when the big wave came?
That's when the big wave came, that's right. But the weird thing is that they live in the water by day, and then what do they do in the night? They come out and they eat grass, like a cow. We see cows during the day. You ready? Don't drop it. So the heavy bit is probably the teeth.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive, isn't it? Look, that's the layers of it growing in the skull, isn't it? And it goes right down into the jaw. It's so nice to be able to handle them. And when you make artworks, like we're going to be doing as a group, I've got an idea of what we are going to make, but we won't actually begin to see it until we do it. And then when we do it, then we'll see it, and then we'll go, yeah, but it's not quite like that, like you're saying, and then we'll make some decisions, say, how can we change it with our hands and with the tools that we're going to be using. So you've used a few simple modelling tools. I'm going to introduce you to a few other tools that we're going to use to make our sculpture. And it's a circuit. It goes round and round and the thing begins to get formed. And then when somebody comes from the outside at the end of this project and they see the artwork that we've made, they'll say, well, how on earth, where did that come from? But we'll have all done it. We'll have been on the journey. Not having lived with them that long, this is part of how I work and sort of locate myself. Actually making connection to my local area. As much as anything, it's sharing skills and getting the kids to use their hands. Really good for schools to see things at this scale. And also to see that kids can work together collaboratively, that they don't all have to make their own little individual thing, that you can generate sort of bigger, more exciting things. So this is a cast done by pressing clay around the old bone and then pulling the bone out and leaving that cavity, and then the kids laid moderate bandage in. So this is effectively the real thing, the bones dug out of the mud. That gives you a real sense of how massive these creatures were. But this is another cast that the children made yesterday of a tusk or tooth, which is in the head like that, but it's huge. The children were talking about this as a sort of X-ray hippo. So, you know, you can sort of see in. So in putting this skin on, I think we might keep it that the skin doesn't completely cover it, and that maybe from one side you can look in and it's a hollow. Yeah, and I've still got a branch of leaves, and we still want to incorporate some foliage and things into it somehow.
It has to walk along the high street.
It's got to actually walk.
So, yeah.
Oh, all right then.
Give it legs.
You okay? If you need any help, just shout.
It's all got to go. Dug up near here. This is the tusk of a mature hippo. A species now extinct.